The beginning of the Bible has changed.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
The meaning is quite clear. At the beginning of creation, God created heaven and earth. He created the earth as a formless void, ready to be moulded into his perfect design.
When the NRSV inserted when into this sentence, the traditional interpretation could still be retained. But not anymore.
The NRSV updated edition, published in 2021, has rewritten the Bible's opener.
When God began to create the heavens and the earth was complete chaos. This alteration reflects the current understanding of the text among biblical scholars. Accordingly, the text is saying that before creation, there was chaos in the form of an unformed earth enveloped in darkness and submerged in water. Then God begins to create. The JPS seeks to make this explicit, enclosing the description of the primordial world within dashes.
Linguistically, both the Old and the New translations are correct, but the new interpretation is supported by the very structure of Genesis 1.
Genesis 1 is an intricate poem. Every word has been selected carefully. For example, the reason why the text reads, God created the greater light and the lesser light on day 4, instead of simply sun and moon, is because the Hebrew names for these celestial bodies are etymologically related to the names of foreign gods. The author of Genesis 1 wants to avoid appearing polytheistic.
Similarly, the carefully crafted structure of Genesis 1 repeats a refrain for every creative act.
Each creation is preceded by an enunciation from God, and then the creation obtains exactly to God's instructions. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This is present for every one of God's creative acts. However, it is absent at the beginning of the text. The author's intention seems to be that God's first creative act was light. The unformed earth, the darkness, the deep, and the waters, these are pre-existent matter representative of chaos. The new version emphasizes this chaos by changing the vague, formless void to complete chaos, reflecting also the alliterative Hebrew tohu wavohu. This was a common way of perceiving the world in ancient creation literature. According to one such Egyptian myth, the Ogdoad, hiddenness, endlessness, darkness, and water are the 4 primordial substances that precede creation. In the Babylonian Enuma Elish, it is fresh water and salt water, deified as the god Apsu and the goddess Tiamat. In fact, Tiamat is etymologically related to Teom, the Hebrew word translated to deep in verse 2. We'll discuss this more in another video.
Finally, the rewording is in keeping with a common theme in ancient Near Eastern stories, in which it was typical to begin with a temporal clause, best translated to a when statement.
What followed was a description of the state of existence at the time of the story. The story of Adam and Eve begins in this way. In the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, when no plant of the field was yet in the earth, and no vegetation of the field had yet sprung up, etc. The Enuma Elish begins in this way, as does another ancient Mesopotamian epic, the Atrahasis. Now, you might wonder where this leaves the concept of Creatio ex nihilo, the idea that God created everything out of nothingness. Nothing of what I have said necessarily bars one from continuing to commit to such a concept. Chaos, the darkness, the waters, they all represent a lack of substantial stuffs, of order, of boundaries, of definition, even time. It may be said that nothingness is chaos. In fact, the phrase, the heavens and the earth, can be understood as meaning everything. Like saying, I've searched the house top to bottom, meaning I've looked everywhere. Whether this was strictly the view of the poem's author is another matter.